Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Leadville 100 royalty in the house today. We've got Marge Hickman, the woman responsible for more finishes at Leadville 100 than any other woman. Marge,
That's cool.
how
Yes.
did you do it?
And I think back on it, Adam, I don't know. You just take one race at a time. And after my first finish way back when, it gets in your blood and addicting. And you always think you can do better.
Ah, that's so cool. Now, your first Leadville 100 was in 1984. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Wow.
That was right.
Okay. So you've been around this sport for a few years.
Mm-hmm. I was up there in 83 when Jim Butera started the race, and I helped him out a little bit. But I have entered that race every single year since.
No kidding.
And some years, whether injuries or, some dropouts, whatever, but I've given 36 years of this race.
Oh my goodness.
My life to this race. Wow. So I've pretty much been there every year, no matter what.
Wow. That is impressive. What is it about Leadville that keeps drawing you back? I mean, I've done the race only a couple times, and it's, the town of Leadville itself is probably my favorite little mountain town. The race is probably my favorite, but what keeps bringing you back?
I do think you're right. It's the beauty, the mountains, the altitude. It's a small town. It's really a haven for sports. You have the skiing, cross-country skiing. They have so much to do in the winter as well as in the summer. So, and Leadville, the race series has added more races and events every year. They have boom days up there, burro race. So they ski joring in the winter. So they have a lot of unique events up there. And I think that's what brings people back every year.
Yeah, for sure. But what keeps bringing you back to this 100-mile race?
Well, it's the toughest race in the world.
Yeah.
So I've done some tough ones other places, but I lived in Colorado. I moved to Colorado in 72, so I've been there a long time.
Okay.
So I know we've lived in Leadville for about 13 years.
Oh, okay. So okay. Now you're calling from Arizona today?
I am, because we're in the process of being full-time RVers and doing some traveling.
Cool.
But, so we're working our way back to Leadville to start doing some altitude training, but I've been logging some good miles already down here.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
You're doing it again this year.
I am. I can't believe it. I really can't.
Believe it, Marge. It's happening. You are signed up. It's happening.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So if you finish this year, how many Leadvilles will that make for you? Finishes?
Well, it'll make 15.
Oh my gosh.
And I have the most right now, but my last go at Leadville, I didn't finish.
Okay.
So, I want to end on a high note and then let this go and move on to something else. But it's still, how it eats in your crawl that if you don't finish. So I got to go back and then hopefully be the oldest woman to ever finish.
Yes. By how far? Do you know? Do you know what the oldest woman is right now?
Well, yes. And I also hope she's still alive. It's Helen Klein from California. She and Norm, who used to do Western States.
Oh, okay.
And I believe she was 68 when she finished. But if I figure it correctly, she should be 89 or 90 years old.
Wow.
Now. So,
wow.
So
time to get that record. It's time to get that record, Marge. It's yours.
Yes, it is. I tell you, I'm going for it. I'm giving it all I have.
Oh,
every
God bless
ounce
you.
of effort.
I love it. I love it.
I do too.
What's your training look like?
Well, I have a training schedule, and one week it's pretty heavy and longer miles. I have 2 rest days a week, and then the next week it backs off the mileage a little bit, but I still have long runs on the weekends back to back. And I'm following that, but I'll tell you, Adam, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I somewhat also adjusted back a mile or 2, or if I need an extra rest day, I'll take it.
Good.
Because I don't need any injuries or anything to interfere with this. So I'm following the schedule as close, but I'm pretty much right on target
Good
with
for
all my
you.
mileage.
Oh,
Hills, speed, down here in the desert. So I think I'll be pretty good when I get to Leadville.
good for you. That's awesome. So how has this race changed since your first 1984 Leadville 100?
Oh my goodness. How much time do you have?
I know it's changed a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, I guess, that's progress, and the town growing by leaps and bounds. Homes there are selling, those small little houses in Leadville are selling for over 200,000, I hear. And
Wow.
people are moving there. It's crowded. The locals aren't happy about the races somewhat.
Yeah.
Because of the traffic. And so I think there's a lot of reasons, but for me, I miss the old time warm and fuzzy days. And there was more camaraderie and more closeness. I think it's lost a lot of the family feel, especially after what they did to me last year. So I have mixed feelings about the race, and that's why I want to get it done this year, and then I'm sure I'll retire from hundreds. So
what happened last year?
well, Lifetime took it over. What, in the late 90s or early 2000s, but once Lifetime did that, the whole race changed, for one thing. But for me, I wrote a book
Right.
on the true history of Leadville.
I want to hear about it.
I have a co-author, Steve Sigwa, who he's finished Leadville 18 times.
Oh, wow.
And I asked him if he would had any stories or any input for the book. So he asked me if I would mind if he'd be a co-author. So of course I jumped on it because Steve is the historian record keeper for Leadville. So every year he does all the statistics, the reports, writes the stories. So he's got firsthand info somewhat that sometimes I don't have. So it was a good mix between us.
Sure.
So we wrote the book because we wanted to make sure that true history was told. And in there, well, I have to just be honest. Ken and Mara Lee are not the founders of the Leadville Trail 100.
That's true. 100%.
And 100%. So they banned me from the race because I wrote the book.
What?
And,
I did not know that. You're kidding me. They banned you last year?
Yep. I was entered last year, and I got a nasty email from that Tim Brassiere, who's the new race director, telling me basically that after the fact they've reconsidered and they wouldn't let me in the race due to issues with Lifetime and Ken and Mara Lee. So that broke my heart.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
I didn't know that. That's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's really a shame. So you talk about family, warm and fuzzy race. It's anything but that. Yeah. And I wouldn't do it this year, except for the fact, Adam, that I want to go back be there and do what I have to do to get another finish. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be doing it, but I'm going to go down fighting.
Yeah.
So I was banned. Then probably like Friday before the lottery was going to close, this February or March, whatever it was, I got a call from this Tim who apologized up one side, down the other. He was embarrassed. He said, I never should have done it. He just ranted and raved about how sorry he was. So he offered me to enter the lottery. And if I entered the lottery, most likely I could get into the race. So
okay,
I did, and I got in the race. So he said, I'll help you with anything you need, any questions, just let me know. I'm here for you. Wow. So since I've called and I've emailed him wanting to know the Silver Rush is full, Marathon's full, all the other races are full, and he won't call me back. So I'm a little leery as I don't know how Ken is involved with him, but I'm certainly still getting the cold shoulder.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Wow, that's crazy. So did they
but
give
I'm
you
in, and I'm going to do it.
Good for you. Way to stay strong. Let's get after it.
Yep.
Did they give you any more specifics than that, or just that it was an issue with Ken and Mary Lee?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. And have you ever met either of them?
Oh my goodness, we used to be best friends.
Oh no, that's even worse.
It is worse. And in the early days when the race started in '83, and we were all up there, I was up there with Jim. I'd volunteer and help do errands from Denver because I lived in Denver at the time. So I used to stay at Mary Lee's house every weekend when I'd come up. Okay. And we were really thick and close friends. And as long as you kind of did what Ken wanted you to do, he liked you. So
when you wrote the book, was there bad blood or animosity when the book came out, or did you?
Well, yes. What happened was the book came out. We had no reason to contact Ken about the book. It was our true history, which is all recorded, newspapers, notes, Jim's notes for all the years. And we have proof of the truth of Leadville. So they just ignored it. And Steve sent a copy of the book because we gave Ken and Mary Lee kudos and good credit for promoting the race and all that they did and the success thereafter. All we mentioned that Jim was the founder. And then the third year, Ken and Mary Lee stepped in and took it over. Jim was there to help in the third year. But after that, they totally swept Jim under the carpet. And they never gave him any credit, and they have never mentioned his name since. So yes, there is a lot of animosity there, and there are a lot of things that Ken says at the pre-race orientation that are just not true at all.
Right.
I mean, and he fluffs it up, makes it sound good, but you know, you've been there, but all the years I've been there, every year, a lot of times he tells a different story of how he founded the race, which I just sit there and laugh. It's really sad.
Wow.
So
wow.
What can I say? But the truth is the truth, and they've never admitted it.
Yeah. Wow. That's a shame that they would ban you, especially with 14 finishes under your belt. You've got a rich history with that race. That's just a real shame.
Sure.
That's too bad.
Sure.
But on to happier.
I even won it.
Yeah, in 1985 you won it. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Wow. Well, on to
Yeah,
happier notes. You were in
I
this
got a
year.
number, second, third, fourth places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I am. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to it.
Okay. Well,
So
and
anyway,
what year did your book come out?
2019.
19. Okay. So it's fairly recent. Okay.
So yes, yes.
Okay.
And it's updated every year. At the end of the year, Steve, still surprisingly, they didn't ban him from the race, but Steve updates and adds an additional chapter for that year.
Oh,
And he put in there about them banning me from the race.
oh, he
So that's
did.
in there. Well,
Good.
yeah,
Good. That's part of the
so
history, right?
it
That
is.
belongs in there.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
So I don't
Unreal.
know. People either like Ken or they don't like him.
Sure.
And so
Yeah. It is what it is, right?
it is what it is. So yeah,
Wow.
but
Wow. Well, Marge, how did you get into this crazy sport? 1984 was the first year you did Leadville, but it sounds like you were running. You must have been running before then. How did it
right.
all start for you?
Well, I grew up back east and I
Whereabouts?
hated Pittsburgh,
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I worked at Mellon Bank and I hated it because of the steel mills and all the pollution the steel mills put out. So as soon as I got out of school, I worked at Mellon Bank for about 4 years and then I quit and followed a friend out to Colorado
Hmm.
and just fell in love with it and moved out there right away
Nice.
and joined. I was a little pudgy, I would call it, but
Hmm.
I joined an athletic club and I started doing the exercise classes and doing racquetball.
Okay.
So I played racquetball for about 3-4 years and worked up to a player.
Oh.
And then thought I need something new, more and challenging. So took up running laps around the track. And then I ended up, my first race was the Beta Breakers.
Hmm.
And that was fun. And I was kind of hooked. And so I ended up, then it joined into my first marathon I ran in Estes Park in 78.
Oh, cool.
And I did Estes Park, Steamboat. I did the Leadville Marathon. So I was running a lot of marathons, Denver, and doing a lot more marathons. And my first marathon was like a 3:12.
Wow.
So I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. So I kept going. And then I met Jim Butera at Frank Shorter's Running Sports, running store in Denver. And Jim sold me my first pair of trail shoes. And then, it came that what are you into? What do you want to do? And he started a running club on weekends and invited me to run with his small group up to the mountains on the weekends. And then he did start the Colorado Ultra Club. And that's how I met Jim back in 82 when I found out, and he just couldn't wait to put on a 100-mile race somewhere.
Okay.
So I knew his dreams and aspirations long before the race started. So we did a lot of training, running together. And then in 83, I was up there to help with the race, but I hadn't trained enough to do it in 83. So I held off to 84.
Okay.
But
wow. What did those training weekends look like back in those days when you were running with Jim? Was he mapping out your training weeks, and was he coaching you, or what did that look like back in those days?
Probably all of the above, because Jim solely worked at Frank Shorter Sports. So seems like he had enough time or more time on the weekends. We'd go Saturday and Sunday, but we were hitting 8 to 10 hour workouts.
Whoa.
So he always would say it's not the miles, it's the hours.
That's true.
So there could have been about 10 of us, Don Starbuck and Skip Hamilton, those early guys, Gary Cross, some of Arthur Swartz from Aspen. There was a good group of us, but we'd hit it and we'd be out all day long.
Wow.
And rain, cold, sleet. I remember going over power line, and it was in a thunderstorm. It started hailing, and we were up near the summit, and those power lines were just crackling and whistling, and
Oh no.
trying to scream, what? And we were yelling, get down. So we were all on the ground, but then it passed over and we all just kept running.
Okay.
So long hours.
Yeah.
So,
Were most of those long hours on the actual Leadville course, or were you running all over Colorado?
we hit kind of all over Colorado, but as it got closer to race time or when the weather got better, we went to Leadville.
Yep.
We'd run a lot of the course.
Yeah.
So, and then, they've made some changes over the years to the course, but it's basically the same.
For sure. Yeah.
So.
And 1984 was your first year, and you did really well.
Yeah, and I even had a sprained ankle.
No kidding.
84, going around Turquoise Lake, near the end, just getting to the end of the trail, I tripped over those darn tree roots, and I tripped, and I finally went down and got pretty scratched up. But at that time, that year, Terry Gerber was the only woman in the race from California.
Okay.
And the pressure was on. I thought, I can't, quit whining, get up and run. So it ended up a few aid stations down, my ankle swelled and it kept getting bigger and bigger, and they taped it. And then it got so big and painful, my crew took the tape off and I was able to finish. And
Wow.
Terry beat me she was 28 something. And I think I was 29. She's only about 50 minutes ahead of me. So she won from California and I was Colorado. So at least she wasn't the only one to finish.
Totally. And then it was 1985. You came back and won.
Yeah. And that was a good year.
Did Terry run that year?
No, she didn't. But there were more women.
Right.
I think it was 7 of us, in fact.
Okay.
And whether some of these folks or not, but some locals and out-of-staters, and all great ladies. I really liked them all. So we, several of them dropped out, and it ended up coming down to 2 of us, and I was able to pass her, and I won, and then set a record that year in 85 for 26 hours.
Wow.
That wouldn't cut it today.
No, probably not, huh?
Oh, goodness. So anyway, and then I don't know, from there on, just every year I'd sign up again and just do it.
Wow.
Some years my best at Leadville, I think, is like 23.
Nice.
And a half or something. But I have
beautiful.
4 sub 25 hours.
Okay.
So
beautiful.
So
were you pretty competitive back in those days? Did you have that competitive spirit?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That's simple.
So if you saw a woman on the trail a couple hundred yards ahead of you, you were gunning for her and you wanted to pass her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you competitive with the men as well?
Yes. And so here's a cool story.
Okay.
I lived in Kansas for 5 years with my now husband, and there was a guy back there, Raul. He worked for a running store back there. Raul was a good runner. So the year I was going, I think, for my 10th finish to get that 10-year buckle, I had, my husband was pacing me up the boulevard to the end, and we're starting up the boulevard, and we saw a headlight ahead of us. And so as we got closer, Michael said, Marge, turn your headlamp off. So we didn't want him to see us. So we creeped up, and son of a gun, we caught up to Raul, and he was hurting.
Yeah.
So Michael said to me, okay, Marge, here's the time. Take a deep breath and let's just blow by him and pass him.
Yes.
So we did.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was my 10th place finish that year. Overall.
The sneak attack on Raul.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, yeah. So, go ahead.
Looking back over all the years, do you have a favorite year? Do you have a race that stands out to you?
Well, okay, so that brings up another point. I think maybe not that it was my best finish, but it was the year I did the Grand Slam.
Ah, okay.
And we did that in 1989, and I thought I was the only woman entered in it. So I entered them, and then I come to find out that Susie Tebow, Lou Payton, and Helen Klein were all entered to do the Grand Slam too. We all wanted to be the first women to do it.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, shucks. So Leadville was tough that year. I think for Leadville, I was like 29:50, but I still finished, but then I still had Wasatch to do. And that was even worse. So, and that I think they have a 36-hour cutoff, and I think I did 35 and change. So, but all four of us finished.
No kidding.
So,
okay.
Yes.
So who was considered the first?
Oh, you would ask that. I say we all were first.
Oh, yes.
Susie Tebow was first time-wise.
Sure. Okay.
And I do think I brought up the rear. I hadn't trained that much, or I did the best I could, but I thought, I finished them all, and that's good in my book.
Absolutely. That's an outstanding accomplishment. I haven't done that. So good for you. How old were you at this time?
Let's see. 89. I was 39.
Okay. 39. So not quite 40. Pretty much in your prime. That's probably your prime. Would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Those years where it was my prime. I was kind of right up there, whether ultras or marathons, 50 milers. I did a 24-hour track race of gyms in Denver called the Bulletiers. Okay. It was around the Auraria campus track for 24 hours, the same direction.
How far did you go?
I did 110.5 miles.
Yes. Wow.
And only one man beat me. So I was pretty happy with that. So
I like how you still remember, it still sticks in your head. There was one guy that beat me.
I know. See?
That's that competitive spirit. I love it.
Yes. And it is still there. It's still there.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So back in your mid-30s, were you doing high volume as far as training miles? Were you doing like 100-mile weeks, or what were you doing?
Yeah. I did for a while, maybe for a month. I did some 100-mile weeks, but after that, they were just too hard. They just wore you out too much. So I probably started to incorporate more speed workout and hills. Okay. And I just think those 100-mile weeks take it out of you.
I think so too. You know, everybody's a little different. Some people can do the high volume. They're up to, some people are doing 200-mile weeks. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm someone who can't really do that. Did you notice a difference when you dropped your mileage back and started incorporating more speed workouts and hill workouts? Did you feel like you got faster?
Yes, I
Really?
did. I did.
Okay.
And recovery time was shorter, and
Yep.
I didn't need to take as much time off
Yeah.
after those weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so,
Now
yeah.
I'm curious, what were you guys carrying for food back in those days?
Oh, well, I really liked real food.
Okay.
Um, my favorite was like macaroni with peas in it and
Uh-huh.
butter,
Okay.
and grapes and fruits I liked, peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but I wasn't as much into the power bars.
Yep.
I used them, but those kind of tasted like sawdust.
They
So
do. Yeah, they still do.
they still do. Oh, okay. So I just liked real food. And
Yeah.
now even these days, I still like real food, but I like the cantaloupe and those pudding vanilla cups
Oh,
because they're easy and they slide down.
okay.
So,
Okay.
I don't eat much out of the aid stations. I
Yeah.
don't, I'll do bananas and that, but I don't like all the, um, what the pretzels and M&Ms and that. I don't like the chocolate stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
kind of pick or choose, but there's
Yeah.
so much out there on the market these days. It's crazy, but I'll take real food any day.
Yeah. Good. Good for you. Well, just keep doing what works. If it works, there's no reason to change it.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. I agree. I
Now,
agree.
you've got a lot of races on your ultra sign up. So you've done more than just Leadville. You've done other 100 milers too.
Yeah, that's correct. Oh, I had the record. Well, and this goes back a number of years too. I had the course record I think at Rocky Raccoon, Kettle
Mm,
Moraine,
mm,
Mohegan. I won these,
wow.
and oh, what are some of the other ones? I There were about 5 or 6 that I think, and I went back a second time to them,
Yeah.
and did. I think I came in second most of them, but
Mm,
now I'm kind of pulling blank on the other ones I did. Oh, I tried Massanutten. If you
okay.
haven't tried a hard one, Massanutten is a killer. That one is big boulders, and
Okay.
that one was really tough. So, in fact, I think one of the toughest ones. But
You said you
so,
tried it. Does that mean you didn't finish it?
yes, it means I didn't finish.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and I did Arkansas Traveler.
Huh.
Oh, and I won Umstead.
Okay.
So I'm having to cheat here and look in my book.
That's all right.
So anyway, but yeah, they were all fun. And I did some triathlons, and I was the only woman in those. So all I
Really?
had to do was finish, and
Okay.
I won a trip to Baja or to somewhere to a beach, and that was fun.
Wow.
So, back in those days, there just really weren't any women in most of these events, especially triathlons.
Yeah.
So,
How did your peers and family look at you being one of the only women jumping into these events? Was it really strange back in those days?
yeah, unfortunately, yes. They thought I was crazy. And my mom would say, "Oh, Marge, you're going to kill yourself." And she did come out for one Leadville, and she has stayed in the hotel. She
Really?
just, when I finished and came in all dirty and stuff, she thought it was just silly. Why would I do that? And she said, "How much money did you win for winning it?" And I said, "Nothing, just
Yeah.
this trophy."
Mm,
So I ended up kind of cutting them off. And
mm.
once I had moved to Colorado and they were still back east, I wasn't in touch with them quite as much. So,
Okay. Okay. Was
and
that
I thought they'd think it was great that I was
well,
a good
yeah.
athlete,
No
but
kidding. Yeah.
not the case, not the case.
Was that sort of the reason for your separation with your parents? Was because they just thought you were doing weird
Yeah,
things with your time?
yeah, probably
Ah, that's too
somewhat.
bad.
And everybody has their family stories and issues,
Of
but
course. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
certainly had ours. And I think the best thing I ever did, Adam, was move away from Pittsburgh. And once I got to Colorado in 72 and forward to now, life has been a real joy and
Good.
exciting, and I just love it. So,
Good. Good.
yeah.
And your husband has got to be one of your biggest supporters, I'm guessing.
Yes, he is. I don't know if I could do him without him. He
Really?
does all the technical and splits and spreadsheets,
No
and
kidding.
he's just a great crew guy. He doesn't miss a beat. That's all I gotta say. He's always there, and he even when I get to Twin Lakes
Yep.
on the inbound
Okay.
after that night or the evening river crossing and that, he's all set up with warm water and a rag, and he has a pot of warm water on the grill, and he washes my feet, and then we slap Vaseline or whatever, or butt paste on him and put the socks back on, and he shoves me out.
Wow. That's a perfect crew member right there. That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yes, yes.
How long
And
have you
he's
guys been
finished
married?
Leadville once.
Oh, he has. Okay.
23 years now.
So he's been around for a few races then too.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, he has. So
No kidding.
he's had a knee replaced, and so his running days are kind of over, but he sure is like I say, a good supporter and crew chief.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. We couldn't do it without them, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
What are some other big memories for you looking back? I mean, you've got so much history there.
Well, let's see. Well, you did ask me about some things I've done and goals.
Yeah.
And well, of course, my goal for this year is to finish Leadville.
Mm-hmm.
And I am signed up for some vacation races.
Okay.
If you know about those, that with people traveling and RVers. So I'm going to do back-to-back half marathons and do Tetons, Yellowstone, and Glacier.
Oh.
And I did sign up for Davy Crockett's 50-mile Pony Express after Leadville.
Okay. Oh, after Leadville.
Yeah.
Marge.
We'll see how that goes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
What month is that?
So Pony Express is in September.
September. So only a month after Leadville. Good grief.
Yeah. That's what I say. Good grief. So my others, so that'll probably be it for this year. But last year, I think I'm ahead of schedule, Adam, because last year with another couple that we RV'd together, we did the Colorado Trail. We did the whole trail.
Oh, last year? No kidding. How long did it take you?
Year. Well, we took about 31 days. We took our time and did it section by section.
Okay.
And we RV'd to different spots. And Michael, again, my husband, helped move RVs and would crew and meet us places back to the RV. And then the next day we'd go back where we stopped and then do the next one, if not 2 or 3 sections.
Yes.
So that was really fun. Wow. I can't believe for all the years I lived in Colorado, I never did the Colorado Trail.
Yeah. I'm older and I haven't done it yet either. Would you recommend it? Is it something that I have to check off the list?
Absolutely. Really? I'd like to go back and do it again.
Really?
It's incredible.
Okay.
You meet all kinds of people and the wildlife, and it's just spectacular, the views. It's amazing. So then we did the virtual Imogene Pass, which I had all these years, again, never did imaging because it always was too close to Leadville. So we did Imogene Pass, and then we went to the Grand Canyon and did rim the river Phantom Ranch and then back up Bright Angel. So
Cool.
that's probably on the plan for next year to do rim to rim to rim.
Oh, awesome. That's one of my favorite runs. That is beautiful. You're going to love it.
Oh, and you've done that?
I've done it a couple times. You're going to love it. It's
Oh, good for
beautiful.
you.
Yes.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Wow.
Good for you. You
So-
got some good goals set up.
I do. I
Good.
do.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention something else,
Yeah.
Adam, and I don't mean to look, I wanted to mention the book Born to Run
Yeah.
and Chris McDougall.
Mm-hmm.
The book was excellent and got many, many people into running.
Mm-hmm.
But along the way and for this book, I did a phone interview with Ann Trayson.
Oh.
And I have a story of hers that's quoted in the book.
Oh, perfect. I'd love to hear it. So were you
some
friends
of
with her?
Oh, I was,
Okay.
and she was my idol and my inspiration.
Wow.
You know, she had won, I think, and done Leadville a couple times before 1994
Mhm.
when she ran up against the Tamahimara Indians.
Yes.
And so I got to interview her, and I hate to say, but Christopher McDougall's got a lot of inaccuracies in his book
Yeah.
about Anne,
Okay.
and has added some fluff that never really happened.
Mm.
So, and apparently Christopher said that he interviewed Anne, and she said he did not.
Oh.
And she was extremely upset and disappointed in Chris's story. So like I say, I have a chapter is in our book about Anne and her comments about Born to Run, and as well as her race that she was somewhat set up to race against the Tamahimara Indians in '94.
Okay.
And she had no idea she was being set up to race against them.
Mm.
And that's also in there, that she had come to Leadville to train and do the race. Then she finds out that she was going to race against the Indians.
Yeah.
So she wasn't happy about that either,
Mm.
and wanted to avoid the press and the hoopla. And then all of a sudden, everything was blown out of proportion. And she said along the way on race day, she had a panic attack because it was too much pressure and felt like she was in a pressure cooker. And all she wanted to do was to do her best and to finish and hopefully get under 18 hours,
Mm-hmm.
which, if you remember, her still the fastest time is 18:06
Okay.
that year.
Okay.
But she had had car problems, and then at one of the aid stations, she couldn't find Carl, and he was late, and certain things happened. But I think Anne was totally disappointed, and the way they wrote up the story of her racing against the Tamahimara. So
Yeah.
that was unfortunate. So
Yeah.
so
Now, was it just Christopher
That's-
McDougall that she was upset with, or was there something else that was put into publication about her racing them?
as far as I know, it was just Chris's book.
Okay.
Especially because she said everything he said in the book about her was not true.
Oh, that's terrible.
So, you know, I met Chris at Leadville when he came and he sold his book there one year, and he autographed my book, and I got to meet him. But at the time, I didn't know that. I thought the book was great, but it wasn't true. So
wow,
that's too bad.
That is too
But
bad.
at least it took off the running community, Adam, and look how many people. Everybody says I read the book Born to Run that inspired me and got me to running. So on that point, that's very good. That's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I agree. Yeah. It did inspire a lot of people to run, which is fantastic. And that's the positive part of it. But even when I read that book, I find a little bit of, there's untruths in there. And I didn't know a lot of the people like Ann Trayson, and I didn't know a lot of these people personally. I wonder if
mhm.
Chris McDougall expected the success that that book ended up having. I wonder if when he published that book, he thought it was just going to be a really low key underground book. And then it ended up just exploding and getting bigger than he expected.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that could be
Yeah.
possibly.
And I think I
Yeah.
remember him describing Ann Trayson as, like the Tarahumara were calling her La Bruja, the witch. And yeah,
Oh,
there was like a lot of back and forth energy there. Like they were really gunning for each other's, place. And
right.
it's sad to hear that a lot of that wasn't even true.
Yeah, they called her the White Witch.
Yeah. Wow.
That's in the book as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there was some bad vibes there for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
So
I understand fictionalizing nonfiction if you're going to publish it as fiction, but he published that book as a nonfiction book, you know? So
oh
yeah, so that's kind of a shame.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Unreal.
Well, that's partly why Steve and I wanted to get the true story of Leadville out there.
Yeah.
And, even when Jim had the dream in 82, he brought it to fruition in 83. He did all the legwork. He did, I have his wheel that he wheeled the course with
Really?
by himself.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
I do. And I have some other memorabilia of Jim's that his widow gave to me.
Okay.
And, when Jim then realized that he needed help with Forest Service, with maybe some police monitoring, aid stations and things, the doctors, he contacted the county commissioners in Leadville, one of which was Ken.
Oh.
And Ken being a runner and a burro racer, Ken was the one that talked with Jim about the race.
Mhm.
So, it's all in writing that Ken is not the founder.
Yeah.
Yes, he helped, but Jim did the work. And so, that it's all in the book, and it goes into a little bit more detail, but it just really breaks my heart that what they've done to Jim and what they've done to me. It's just too bad. So
It really is. Yeah. No, you guys are a big part of the history of that race. So that is a shame. Have you ever confronted Ken or talked to him about any of this?
Lifetime Fitness at one point, when I talked to them after they did this, they told me it's not Lifetime's problem. They said, you should contact Ken or Marilee, or contact Ken, talk to them about it and work it out. But, Adam, Steve and I talked about it and said, why?
Yeah.
We know the truth. We have all the paperwork, and I thought there's no reason to talk to Ken. And when Steve sent the copy of the book, when it was released, he sent Ken a copy.
Okay.
And Ken ended up calling Steve, and he ripped into Steve, terribly.
Really?
Like, why didn't you call me before you wrote this? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you? Why'd you do this? And I think they ended up hanging up, and they had Ken. Luckily for Steve, he stood up to Ken and he held his grounds, and he, I guess, somewhat put Ken in his place. And we were telling the truth, and Ken was extremely upset.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
So,
well, how many people have come to you glad that you put the book out? I'm guessing that there's been a handful of people that have come to you thankful that you put the real version of the truth out there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And, you know, we self-published,
Okay.
so it has sold well, and
Good.
we've recouped our expenses,
Good.
but it's not like Chris McDougall having a publisher and
Right.
he's sold millions of books.
Right. Right.
So I think the more book signings and things that we do, I do hear a lot from people. You know, it's not a ton, but enough that many people didn't know the history.
Yeah.
And so some of them still think or believe that Ken is the founder, but
Yep.
when Ken rams that down your throat every year at the pre-race, you know, what else are they to think?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, for
so
listeners, where can we find your book? Do you have a website?
oh, I sure do. LT100 History,
Okay.
or it's on Amazon.
Okay.
And let me see here. Oh, you'd ask me in my, it's, yeah, www.lt100history.com.
lt100history.com. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let's see. So I don't know. You want a couple other good stories?
Of
Face
course.
plant?
Of course. Yes, let's hear them.
This is just going down the boulevard at the start of the race on one rainy morning. It was rain. I remember it rained on all day Friday. It was raining on race morning. Get down, feeling good in the crowd and going around the turn towards the asphalt road. But some guy doesn't even say on your right or on your left. And he scooches around me so fast, hits me with his elbow and knocks me down. And I did a face plant in the mud.
Right at the start of the race?
At the very start of the race. So I thought, oh my goodness. But, you know, I got up by the time nobody said anything to me. And when I got to Winfield, my crew said, oh my God, Marge, what did you do? So I got a bath and carried on. So it was kind of fun. Oh, and I'll tell you one more thing.
Yeah.
Here's another thing.
Okay.
Michael and I got married in the race in 1997.
No way.
Yep, on top of Hope Pass.
Oh, wow.
So at that time, we lived in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. And so anyway, Michael was a CPA and he had two clients that were ministers. So we invited both of them to come to Leadville. They both came, and one came from the Winfield side, one came from
Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes.
Yep.
And whoever got there first got to marry us.
I love it.
That was pretty fun. So we got married just beyond the prayer flags up there.
Okay.
So
during the race.
During the race. And then Michael Ehrlich, people were running up and over the top of Hope. And so Michael Ehrlich, who finished, I think, a number of times, he took our picture, and for a wedding gift, he sent us a gigantic wedding picture of us standing on Hope Pass in our white running gear.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh.
So did you wear a wedding dress?
Cool. No, I had white shorts, white hat, and I just pinned on some white wedding veil on my hat.
Okay, so, perfect. Yeah, I love it.
So that was good, but
that is awesome.
Just good memories. The river crossing, you know, the river crossing one year, the water was so dang high, they had the rope stretched across with divers on both sides. Oh. And coming back, or maybe it was going out. I think it was even going out. The water was so strong, getting across there, it was above my waist. And by the time I got almost to the middle, my arms were so extended, I couldn't hold on anymore. So I let go. I just couldn't hold on anymore. So all of a sudden I'm floating down the river and screaming, and then somebody grabbed my ponytail and pulled me out. So I tell you, what a race, what a race.
So you've been through it all, Marge.
I think so. I've got more scars on this old body than you can imagine.
Oh, but they're scars to be proud of. They're well-earned scars.
Yes, they are. And I am proud of every one of them.
Good for you. You should be.
Yep. So when are you going to run Leadville again?
That's a good question. This year I'm doing my first 200 miler.
Oh,
yes. I'm doing the Sangre de Cristo 200 down in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. It's part of the
John LaCroix.
John LaCroix, you bet. It's one of his races. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's a sweetie.
He is.
He says his races are excellent.
They are. Yeah. Have you done a bunch of his?
I did one.
Okay.
2 years ago, the 50. I was
Indian
going to do the
Creeks?
100
Yep.
at Santa de Cristo, and I hadn't trained much, so I went from the 100 down to the 50.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But he's a great guy. Fun.
Oh yeah, he is. He is. No, I've done Leadville twice, and this year I'm going to be out there pacing friends. And from what I understand, one of my friends is going to be pacing you, Brian Pacenti.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
He
said he'll do the back 40.
The back 40. Okay, perfect.
So
he'll get you in. He'll get you in. He's going to make it happen.
Well, Michael, my husband, Brian said, well, Marge, I can mule for you and I'll carry some of your gear. And Michael, my husband, said, well, Marge only weighs 100 pounds.
Brian can just throw you over his shoulder and just carry you in.
Well, there you go. I hope he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that would count as a finish.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it sounds like you're going to kill it this year. I can't wait to see you. I'm going to be out there and I'll be cheering you on, and it's going to be a good time. So I can't wait.
Oh, well, I am too, Adam, and I sure thank you or Brian getting me in touch with you. And we heard your podcast with him last week. So that was really good.
Oh, really cool. Hey, tell me really quick about you guys' RVing. So you guys retired and you're just full-time RVers now?
We're just about.
Okay.
We sold our house in Leadville only because, we'd come back the 1st of May and there was still 8 feet of snow behind our house.
Yep.
So put her on the market, and we kind of got out and sold it at a good time. Yep. We ended up buying a little storage house here in Arizona because I have so many T-shirts and trophies and medals.
You kept them all? You still have them all?
I have every T-shirt from 1970.
Whoa. No kidding.
Absolutely.
Every
trophy, everything.
Wow.
So we needed a house to put all this stuff in.
I bet.
So we did that, and then we've been doing this like 4 years now, and we just leave for the winter and come down to Arizona, or we spent a month on Rocky Point in Mexico, doing a lot of beach running and stuff like that. So we're doing traveling and sightseeing as well as keeping the running going.
Cool. Good for you. It sounds like you're living the dream. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. So far, so good, Brian. So far, so good.
My parents did the same thing. They sold their house and were full-time RVers for a number of years, and they went all the way up to Alaska and down to Mexico, and they went around the country a few times, and they just had a blast. So
good for them.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to go to Alaska last year, and then COVID hit, so we had to move that down the line. So cool. Well, retirement is great.
Yes. Well, Marge, what advice would you give to anybody who, they're an ultra runner and they're wondering if they're going to be able to keep it up until they're 70 years old? What's kept you going all these years?
Okay. I think one big thing is to keep a good, positive mental attitude, for sure. And I think you have to do all the right things too. Kind of, Adam, you got to eat right, you got to exercise, stay motivated. Surround yourself with people that are like you, that like to get out and hike or climb mountains or ride bikes. And, you know, to me, the 71 is just a number, and I'll take on anybody. I feel better than ever.
Oh, good.
I
Good
really
for you.
do. And I just think the most thing is just God, believe in yourself and just stay positive and just get out there and do it.
That's it right there. Marge, you are ageless.
Well, I hope so. Well, you know, the funniest thing too, Autumn, I did the Zion 50K last year. And do you know what my bib number was?
Your age.
70, my age group was 70 to 100.
So
no,
you got a lot of years left.
I sure do. I'm saving that one. Yes. I just about fell over when I saw 70 to 100.
So you're just getting warmed up.
I hope so. So, hey, Adam, I know you're probably wanting to wrap up, but my husband wants to tell you something.
Yes, please.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Michael.
One really great story about Marge is that she's in the race. She just left May Queen on the way out. And there's a TV reporter there recording people as they go by. And this one reporter said to Marge, tell me about the race and how do you train? A little bit of training. Anyone can finish the Leadville Trail 100. And that quote has lived with her ever since.
Sorry.
And that's true. I did say that.
I think my connection went out just a little bit there while he said that. So was the quote with just a little bit of training, anyone can finish? Is that what you said?
Yes, anybody can finish the Leadville Trail 100. And I truly did say that. And this was in my heyday. With a little bit of training, anybody can finish. And I tell you, I've been reminded of that quote. So just remember that. Train for your 200 and you can do it.
Yes. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt, Marge, with your name underneath it. You're going to be my inspiration this year.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Adam, it's so good to talk to you.
Hey,
and
you too.
Connect with you.
Absolutely.
And all the best. And then when will this be out for people to see?
I'm going to try and get it out tonight. So it's going to be out tomorrow morning.
Okay. So is there going to be a link that some of my friends want to see it?
Absolutely. I'll send it to you, and it's going to be on YouTube. And then there's also going to be the podcast version where people can listen to it while they're out on their runs. So we're going to have a couple different versions of it, and I'll send them all to you.
Okay. Well, I hope I didn't do too badly.
You did fantastic. This was such an inspiration, and I think people are going to absolutely love it, Marge. So thank you
I hope so.
for your time. You did great.
Oh, you too. Well, thank you so very much. And I do hope we stay in touch.
I hope so too. And I'm going to see you this summer, and I'm going to be your #1 fan. I'm going to be cheering you on. I can't wait.
Okay. Oh, well, me too. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you, Marge. You guys have a great day. All right. Bye.
You too.